Are you ready?
This is the Weapon of Sass Destruction, the Feminist Icon, Effy, E-F-F-Y, baby. And you're listening to a shot of wrestling, what is bound to be the greatest episode of all time, full of Effy, with hot takes and cold takes and warm takes and whatever you want to hear. It's all uncensored and it's happening right now.
Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? From the fans to the fans, let me hear the crowd pop. So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? From the fans to the fans, let me hear the crowd pop. So take a shot. Oh yeah. So take a shot. Oh, so take a shot. Oh, so take a shot.
Family, welcome to another exciting edition of A Shot of Wrestling, The Interviews. I'm the Green Man, and if you haven't done so already, follow us on all forms of social media at A Shot of Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, and Shot of Wrestling No A on Twitter. You can also contact us via email at inbox@ashotofwrestling.com or dial it up 619-343-3005 and leave your comments on the Shot of Wrestling hotline. And we say it time and time again that wrestling brings us together, and today is no different. Today, we are joined by the Weapon of Sass Destruction, the Golden Boy of Grab Ass, the Feminist Icon, and the corporate sponsor superstar, Effy.
What beautiful introduction.
Welcome, my brother, to A Shot of Wrestling. It is a pleasure to have you. Whew, I'm already sweating at how hot this interview is going to get.
You just went through a whole speech there, so I feel like I have to kind of meet you at your level. So can I start with hot takes?
Go for it, brother.
The Undertaker has sucked since he stopped being American Badass. Kenny Omega's documentary poster for his HBO special looks like shit. And I'm going to be the highest paid man in wrestling by 2023. Suck my dick.
Facts. Hashtag facts on that one.
Hashtag facts. Hashtag facts.
Let me tell you, I didn't know how to start this interview when I knew that you were going to be on, because there's so many things I want to get into the conversation with you with. And for some reason, I started thinking back into my college days. I'm like, well, if I saw Effy in the bar, what would be that line that would spark the conversation?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to my ultimate college days and give you the line I gave. And it was, what's your story?
What's your story? What a wide open, beautiful question. It leaves so much possibility for me to make stuff up, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not. See, here's the thing. I always worry, because there's different listenerships, obviously, for every podcast. Right. I always worry that they've heard my story too much. So I'm going to give you the collapsed version that I can expand upon in the future, which is I used to do a lot of drugs. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. One time I took 8 tabs of LSD, wow. Ended up tripping alone watching a whole season of a weird TV show, thought Reggie Watts, the comedian, was God, figured out John Cena might be a hologram, and then went on to get sober the next day, start training with a man named White Trash Fred in a field, lied to get on shows, took more bookings, told people I was a superstar. Some of them believed it. Now the rest of them are getting to that level. And now I'm here running a $2 million business at a 20% profit and wrestling all the fucking time, flying out, making money, selling shirts, yelling at people. It's beautiful.
Wow. And I want to know more. So let's get right into it. What do you mean you lied to get into the business?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. In Florida especially, and I know this is like this everywhere, but in Florida especially, if you can't name your school and your trainer, you're not getting booked anywhere. And my trainer was a man named White Trash Fred in a field. So that doesn't sound very applicable to putting a professional on your show when he says, yeah, White Trash Fred trained me in a field. That doesn't sound good. So I just lied and told people I was trained by all these professionals and blah, 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 put me in. And then I just started stealing everybody's spots, which is sick, because I'm coming in with something that's very different than what you see in wrestling, which is self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I have self-awareness, and I can fill roles better that way on a wrestling show. I see guys calling these matches backstage. I see guys talking about their matches, talking about wrestling, and they're so focused on this like complicated bullshit of magnitude chain wrestling and spots. And I figured out pretty early on, the fans have seen it. They've seen it.
Yeah.
So if you're not going to do it better than the best guy who can do it, don't do it. Do what you're good at. What I'm good at is throwing people around, submissions, talking shit, and connecting with people. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not going to
Right.
go in there and have a Jonathan Gresham match because Jonathan Gresham's better at Jonathan Gresham matches than me. Why would I try to emulate somebody who is not me, who is really good at what they do? I should let them do what they do and then have my part of the circus be my part. You don't see high rope walkers going out there trying to do clown work. You don't see clowns going out there trying to do the motorbike in a metal wheel spin in a circle deal at the circus. It's the same thing. There's 10 segments, 8 segments, 6 segments on a show. Where do you fit in and where do you belong? And as you grow, you can tell yourself, maybe I can fill this spot too. Maybe I can find this place too, and still feel satisfaction in your art and your craft.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned earlier, like, you're taking spots from the best guys out there. Who were those best guys out there when you were starting off?
You know, I don't know. I don't really. Here's the thing. Wrestling to me focuses too much on wrestling, right? I go to shows and everybody's talking about their favorite matches and their favorite wrestlers and their favorite this and this. And what happens is all these wrestling tropes become the normal. And so you're seeing everything being replicated around you. And I start thinking things like, what is wrestling missing that entertainment has that we can give them here? So I'm thinking about, let's make fun of Guantanamo Bay by doing a waterboarding spot. You know, let's do weird spots here. Let's tell weird stories. You know, we did a feud, me and White Mike of the Gymnasty Boys. I don't know if anybody's familiar. That was based on him eating whipped cream out of my ass and me claiming that there was more to our love than met the eye. This is a secret homosexual love story that was then put on at PWX, which has been working with Ring of Honor and New Japan. What I'm hoping to do and what I'm looking to for influence is what hasn't been done in this realm that entertainment has done well. What can we do here in wrestling that's never been done before and make it connect to an audience that's used to the same old tropes of here's a babyface, here's a heel, here's some shine, here's this. Let's take it into deeper stories and stop thinking about, okay, here's your baby, here's your heel, y'all got 10, somebody's going over, and thinking more like, what is the story we can fully tell in 10 minutes or build up to with match videos and promotional material to where by the time people are finishing this match, they feel like they've gotten a whole story out of it instead of just, wow, it was a great 8-minute match.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think that's a lot of the reasons people are very dissatisfied with some of the laziness that's going on in like the big companies like the WWE. You know, there's nothing interesting anymore. So what do you think right now would, talking about the WWE, they need to do to change things up? What would you like to see from some of their superstars?
You know, Daniel Bryan says it best, recycling is really good for the planet, but Effy says it better, recycling is not good for wrestling. So the problem is visually all wrestling looks the same. I'm going to jump back to me being on LSD and give you the problem here, okay? At the beginning of the show, wherever they are, Michael Cole says, we're here in so-and-so town. Might be Cleveland, Ohio. Might be Lubbock, Texas. Might be Oklahoma City. Might be Greenville, South Carolina. And then they show the arena, and the setup is the same every time, and the arena looks the same every time, and it's the same guys coming out, and the same camera angles, and the same camera shake, and the same editing on every single match. And it took me out of it. It's very hard to watch the WWE product because it all looks exactly the same. You can go look at a match from 2009 and 2019, and the HD is the same. The camera angles are the same. The catchphrases are just substituted in like a Mad Lib. It's frustrating as a fan to want to watch professional wrestling, to watch this wrestling happen, but you can't tell the difference between the towns, between the talent, between the matches, between the visuals. It all looks exactly the same. So even before we jump into how can we change storylines and characters and make it more accessible to people who don't watch wrestling, which is, ready for it, guys? Go. As wrestling fans, we don't hear this. Ready for it? Most people, they don't fucking watch wrestling. Most people do not fucking watch wrestling. Look at it. TV ratings are down. Oh, we got to get more wrestling fans. No, we have to tell people who don't watch wrestling why they should. Putting the same product out week after week, hours of that product is not going to draw new people into the business. It's not going to build up fan bases. It's not going to make money. It's going to be us circle jerking to the same fucking people who show up every time. The same people go to the same WWE event, go to the same indie show. Doesn't matter if you announce a big star or not. It's the same people and the same people. How are we bringing in the people, the 90% of America that probably doesn't watch wrestling? How are we bringing them into the fold? We have to change the way we're thinking because this old school mentality that we've all clung on to of how wrestling should be is not working. Is wrestling picking up? Is it becoming cool again? Yes. Is it enough? Absolutely not.
Very interesting. I never had someone explain that to me, but you're absolutely right. I think one of the reasons I like watching pay-per-views is a very small detail, but every new pay-per-view gave you a new stage, a new background to work off of. And ever since they changed it to that same thing where they just change graphics, I'm like, there's nothing special from it.
It's hard. And like, as a wrestling fan, you understand, okay, well, I'm just here to watch the wrestling anyway. But we have to, if we are to succeed as part of the entertainment industry, which we're in the same category as Netflix, as a movie, as going to, a choral play or a Broadway show or Cirque du Soleil, we have to fit into entertainment to make it accessible to these people who want to spend money on entertainment, and not capitalize on, well, this has worked so far, or capitalize on, well, this is what wrestling fans want. Fuck all that.
Right.
Think about what's going to bring in these casual people. And people say, well, you shouldn't always be thinking about the casual people. Listen, I think once you bring in 2 million more people to watch wrestling, you can go out there and have the match you want to have. But until that happens, and we're ignoring casual people and we're pushing them away with shows that are too long, with matches that don't make sense, with overcomplicated stories, with silly stuff, with stupid stuff, and not necessarily respecting that, hey, this person might not be in on every wrestling trope. This person might not know every wrestling inside joke that we know. This person coming for the first time has never seen any of these people before. So whether you're former WWE or former Impact, or you've been wrestling for 3 months, you're the same to these casual people. We've gotten them in the door now. Let's bring them back. One-time sales don't matter. One time coming to the show does not matter. The people who we can get in the door and say, wow, I never knew professional wrestling could be this fun, this exciting, and come back, that's our target, man.
What was the last storyline that really captivated with you, that really got you interested? And it doesn't have to be WWE.
Well, there's a storyline going on right now with Jordan Devlin, who's in the NXT UK brand, and David Starr, who I'm a huge fan of. But what they put together, ignoring the match, I haven't even watched the match, they put together one of the greatest promo videos I've ever seen, which was this story that you could go into, and it was sold almost like, this is larger than life. This is human emotion. This is real, using some effects, using some speech, using some music to bring people in who, if they had no idea who these two people are, had a full grasp of it by the time they were getting to the end of this video. So that being done, when I see people not going, okay, we got a match coming up, I better cut a promo. On March 8th, I'm going to beat your ass, and this is personal, and the belt's on the line. But taking it deeper and going, our audience isn't stupid.
Yeah.
We can explain to them that we were really good friends. We went through some things. Things changed. It doesn't have to be, oh, he just attacked him with a chair. Hey, this loss really affected me. It sucked to be out there and look like I sucked. It sucked to lose right there. It sucks to be compared to you and have those emotions, that people who aren't wrestling fans can connect to. That's awesome.
Wow, you have a great mind, and you're explaining yourself really well about, some of the issues in wrestling. What's your background? Do you have anything in your previous careers or anything you're doing now that you think it's beneficial to you being a wrestler right now?
100%. What people don't know about, I'm very public about everything, but there's things I keep to myself because I don't need you to know about them, but I'll tell it to you here. Here's the secrets. This is where the secrets come out.
Go for it.
I was a public relations major in college. I minored in African American studies.
Interesting.
I used to work for Hootie and the Blowfish.
No way.
I used to tour with punk musicians. I used to be in my own rap group. I used to play in rock bands. So I've been in and around the entertainment industry since I was 15 or 16. I've done a lot of things. I've studied crisis communication. I've studied how companies and businesses react to business changes, to changes in their flow, to issues that come up. So when I look at myself as a wrestling commodity, I'm not just thinking about what suplex can I add to my arsenal. I'm thinking about what's going to really bring people into wrestling overall. And I even put out a video recently as a part of, I did a series called Effy and the Agent. And the first season of it was 7 little shorts of me and this guy, and it's the inside look at how I'm overthinking everything. But in the second one, that actor wasn't available, so my dog became my agent. And in one of the episodes, the dog says, look, you've got to make this video. And the video is called Come Watch Pro Wrestling. And it basically says, if you like wrestling, if you hate wrestling, there's something there for you. And capitalizing on what takes place at a wrestling show beyond wrestling, I think can be really enticing for people. And I don't think from a public relations or marketing perspective has really been looked at, which to me, when I go to wrestling, I'm excited to see these ridiculous fans. I'm excited to see these ridiculous wrestlers. I like good wrestling. I love bad wrestling. Telling people, look, you might just go to this to make fun of it. I don't care. Pay me $15 and walk in. We really don't care. You might just come to look at fans and go, these people exist and this is crazy. Good for you. We got the money. We got you in the door. You'll probably come back. Because once we get you in the door, I feel like there is something in professional wrestling that will connect to you to where you will want to come back. So whatever reason I need to give you to get you in the door, I'll do it. And that comes from that PR and crisis communications background of looking at situations and going, what are we missing? You know, I look at an example, even the PR people aren't thinking of it the same way I am, which I can remember in college being in class, and this girl gave this big presentation about her charity, which was called Get in the Pink. It was a breast cancer charity.
Okay.
Get in the Pink. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, get in the pink. I go, are you going to finger yourself here? And she goes, oh my God, what are you saying? I go, I've only ever heard the phrase get in the pink one time. And it's when shitty frat bros are talking about having sex with women. They say they're going to get in the pink. They're referring to your vagina.
Yeah.
She said, no, people don't think like that. I said, no, people do think like that. If you're not willing to think the most perverted, disgusting, horrible thoughts that someone else could think, you're not good at marketing or public relations. You're not paying enough attention. So when I look at wrestling and I see things being done that would catch my attention in a wrong way, I know they're catching somebody else's attention in a wrong way. And these are things that have to be addressed to make sure we're not pushing people out the door before we ever even get the opportunity to show them what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other avenues in the business that you want to get into with all this great knowledge and background that you have?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. But I've got enough left in my bump card right now to ride this out for a while. I love the full spectacle of professional wrestling. Would I like to be a writer someday? Maybe. Would I like to agent or produce? Maybe. Would I like to run my own company? Absolutely not. Under no circumstance. I spend my life, at the shoot job managing people and dealing with people. And so when I connect with promoters, I feel like I almost have a better understanding of what they're going through or who they're dealing with or what the issues that come up are. And a lot of people say, well, you brown nose with promoters. I was like, no, I get along better with the promoters because I run a business. This is their business that they are running. Yeah. But on that same spectrum, I also call them on their bullshit. So when you've got 300 people in a building who paid $15, and I know what you paid your guys to wrestle, don't tell me you don't have enough money to take your ring down and carry your stuff out of the building. Don't tell me I have to help you out before everything is done. I know what you made. I'm harder to trick. So I've got to look at it from a business perspective too, and I wouldn't take their job from them now. And maybe I'm speaking early, and maybe one day I will want to run a company, but right now it's about making sure that what I have and what I'm doing is handled by me and handled correctly.
Well, I think one of the things that I think you do very well is the writing. I think you're a very creative person. If the listeners haven't checked out your YouTube page and your series, I think it's funny as hell. If you were to put Effy in a current WWE storyline, what would you write for yourself?
I thought about this the other day, and I thought about a really fun way to debut. I'm looking at this storyline right now with Shane McMahon and with The Miz. And I've always been so fascinated by The Miz because The Miz is a guy who, no matter how many people were talking crap about him, he was 100% secure in what he was doing, right? Yep. He's like, no, I'm going to be a star. No, I'm going to be the champion. No, I'll be the good guy. I'll be the bad guy. I'll be awesome. I want to come in as his PR director and run this thing out for a few weeks and help him out and let him get frustrated with how controlling I am. And then have that turn into something where I can finally just transform into this demonic fucking superhuman that Effy really is. And once he sees the other side of the table, I think it will be more important to have this smart business-minded person shown first before showing them all the ridiculous. Because on the surface level for a wrestling fan, it's very easy to go, oh, here comes a ridiculous boy in a sparkly jacket, women's pantyhose. He's so wild. But if you really take a look and go deep, you really fall down that rabbit hole that happens a lot on YouTube, you can see there's a lot more to the character than that. But I think presenting it first and foremost as sort of someone who is confident in their business skills, someone who is confident in the way business is run, the way the entertainment industry is, and then having that flipped switch of not only do I know about this stuff, I can do it better than you, would be immaculate and such an exciting feeling for the crowd to get to see that swap happen with no expectation.
And then you create a lot of depth to your character, a lot of layers to
and
it,
depth,
which is great.
Depth is important for me. I look at wrestling and I say, I want to provide a product where if you're that guy that wants to go through and have this detailed 20-page backstory, we can do that. If you just want to be in the front row and have your little, reaction to me, and that's what it is, we can do that too. I want to fill both sides of that coin, because wrestling fans, when they are strong wrestling fans, and I know I've talked a lot of shit about wrestling fans. I think wrestling fans are great, but I think we need to do more to get more people in. But when I look at wrestling fans and they want to have that depth of character and they want to look back at matches from 2 or 3 years ago and they want to see growth of character and how a person has changed, I want to be able to give you that same option. And I do think I'm pretty funny in the YouTube videos. I think I'm a pretty good writer.
Yeah.
I stand by the fact that meeting me in person and seeing me live is a whole fucking different animal. I'm a pure crazy person, and I'm not just saying that to be like, oh, he's wacky, he shoved at Hot Topic one time. I'm a crazy person, in the best way. Of I'm damn near a perfectionist. I'm wild. I'll do whatever I have to do. I don't care if it hurts. I don't care if it embarrasses me. We're gonna make it happen and get it done. And that's the best kind of performer you can be.
And that's why we love you, man. That's exactly why we love you. While we're talking about the wrestling fans, you had a match with Bailey superfan Izzy last summer. Now, it may seem as hypocritical question coming from me. A lot of people who know me as the green man, who's this big attention-seeking whore at a wrestling show. But I have to ask you, what is your opinion about fans and their interaction, or the quote-unquote hijacking of shows so often that we see nowadays? Do you see that as a value to the industry? Do you see that as a problem for the industry?
No, it's a value. It's a value. It's a value. Here's why. If the fans are taking over your show or they're overrunning your plans, it means your plans weren't that good. And if fans are getting involved in the business, that means they're serious about wrestling. They care enough about wrestling to want to be a bigger part of it than just being at the show. I see a lot of guys who paid for tickets, and then I go back 2 or 3 months later, and now they're helping with security, and now they're helping with tickets, and now they're helping with ring setup. You know, there's always a place for more people to help out in professional wrestling, and you never know what kind of skills you're going to get out of a person. So I implore all fans to get involved, which would not have been the case, 20, 30 years ago when it was so secretive. But now it's like, I mean, can you imagine seeing somebody fall off their bike and they're bleeding in the road, and you were like, hey, man, I'm not a professional biker, but I can help you get to a hospital. Right. You're like, no, I'm fine. You're not involved in my business. That's what wrestling does a lot of the time. It lays there injured and asks why no one will help it. And then when you get help from someone who cares about it, they go, we don't need your help. You're not in this business. And it's crazy to me. So that's I want the fans involved.
Yeah.
I'm the queen of analogies. That's all I do analogies. But the Izzy thing in particular, man, what a wild thing. I'll speak on it briefly because I've spoken on it before. But, her parents said she's been training for 6 months. She's training at the school with Santana Garrett and Chelsea Green. There were rumors that it was with this pedophile trainer in Florida. He did not train her because Izzy's dad found out what was up with him and took her promptly out of the building. But then, they came to me and said, she's been working so hard. We trust you. You're a safe worker. Would you want to have a little exhibition match with her? Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think there'd be this crazy thing. We did a little promoing back and forth to make it important. But, this is a smaller company. This is a smaller venue. It's not going to be some 10,000 seat arena thing. So we're having our match. There was a lot of politicking that I can't fully get into because they'll take your podcast down if I do.
All right.
But there are companies involved who were not too pleased. And part of me inside, the ego in me says, I think NXT had a little bit to do with it too, because I think they were frustrated with Izzy having her first match before it was in a WWE ring when they've devoted so much screen time to her.
True.
So she's training with these people who are involved with the company, and now this jackass is coming in and taking that first match from us. So after the match happens, I mean, obviously there was some backlash. And the people speaking out on it were standing on crumbling pillars. Current WWE superstars who still take money from the pedophile trainer in Florida. Current WWE superstars who have seen Izzy bump before and acted like she's never bumped a day in her life. There are videos on Twitter if you go look through. She's bumped before me. It wasn't the first or the last time she'll bump. Yeah. And then, just hateful stuff. But it also gave me a new platform by just sticking out and going, I'm going to do whatever I want. And people saw that. And so the hate I got was equaled off by, oh man, this dude's wild. He's going to do whatever. He'll chokeslam a kid. I'll take that booking. I will take that booking.
If you were able to change anything right now with the snap of your fingers in professional wrestling, what would it be?
Well, going right back to my original comment, I want all these fucking sex predators and criminals and shitty fucking abusers out of the business.
Oh my God, I feel like so many people have come out in the past year. So many crazy shit. So many people that I would never expect.
Because we're looking deeper now.
Shit.
And for a long time, and I can tell you this from being in locker rooms, there are people who were protected, who have done terrible things, who were protected by companies, by individuals, by bookers, by promoters. And now with fans having more of an access through social media and fans being more interested in finding out who these people are, they're getting caught. And a lot of the promoters are having to backtrack and say, we didn't know. They all knew. If they hired you, they knew. And luckily, our fans in the world of wrestling have been smart enough to step in and go, no, we're not going to allow this anymore. And now the wrestlers are seeing, okay, it's okay to say this person's a bad person. It used to be, I don't want to mess with my bookings, and he knows this guy, and it's not my place to say anything. And now it's, I'm not going to work a show if you have this pedophile on your show,
That's
or I'm
true.
not going to work a show if you put this, convicted molester on the show. And we have more power now as wrestlers and fans to cut that bullshit out. And I think we're going to continue to see it. And a lot of people will be sad their favorites are going under, but it is 100% for the best to get all those people out of the locker room.
No, absolutely. I've just been surprised at how many people in the past year are just coming out like with horrible, horrible things that they're doing. It just amazes me.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to put your heroes on a pedestal. It's really easy. But going back to the PR person in me, I will think the worst about you. And if the worst about you is true, then you got to fucking go, man. Humans, whether we like to admit it or not, and this goes into a larger societal conversation,
Okay.
humans are perverts, right? We want to fucking make babies. Genetically, biologically, that's what we want. And now with the internet having 400 million hours of any kind of specific pornography you want to watch, we've been able to become specific perverts. And because of that and the dark web and the stuff that's happening, we're able to become illegal perverts for the people that choose to do so. So it's harder to catch these people in a certain way, but it's also easier to get them out because once you send a tweet, if the right people want to see it, you can take somebody out in a day.
Yeah. Effie, do you watch porn?
Oh yeah, a ton of porn. I love porn, but honestly, porn to me is like Rush Hour 3. Sometimes it's a good action movie, but sometimes it's just hilarious. I think human sexual function is the funniest thing possible, and there's nothing funnier to me sometimes than watching like bad porn acting, porn bloopers, funny porn things that happen. Like we play this game like nudity is some big mystery or sex is some big mystery. The person you're standing next to right now, it's you and them and about a quarter inch of fabric between their genitals. So it's not a mystery. I'm still saying consent is very important and all this stuff is very important.
Right.
But we sort of put sex in this position of this magical thing. And for me, that's not what it is. Sex is an activity. It's a hobby. It's a way you show your affection for someone. It's not the end all be all. It's a fun way to do it.
Yeah, and nowadays you have to be very careful because a lot of people put those things on their videos in their phones, and with the cloud everywhere, it could get leaked. Do you have any nudes that could potentially be leaked in the future?
Oh, hundreds of nudes that could be leaked. But here's the thing: I'm a PR guy, man. I've already prepared to run a 3-month gimmick as "Oops, my nudes got leaked," because that'll be the funniest storyline ever. You just got to roll with it,
Yeah.
We've all got something. Maybe it's yours, maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. Just have fun with it, or don't. If my nudes get out there, they get out there. I'm not disappointed in my genitals, not disappointed in my body. If you really want to see it, I'm sure somebody has it. I'm sure somebody's angry enough to send it to you. Who fucking cares?
Amen to that. You're in a really tough business. Being a wrestler is not easy, but along the way, there's a lot of people who help everybody out, and that's one of the things I like about the wrestling community. That there are the bad people, but there are a lot of good people in it as well. Who are some of those good people who gave you advice early on, and what is that one piece of advice that you feel you still carry on to this day?
I'm going to mention John Davis, who some people may not be familiar with. John Davis is the king of Florida. He used to work for Ring of Honor. He's done a lot of work for WWN and FIP. He's wrestled damn near everybody in the state, except for me. We have never had a one-on-one match. But that guy is always there to say, hey, here's something I think you could do better. Or, hey, here's something you need to do really well. But also saying, hey, but still be yourself. There's going to be a lot of people telling you who to be, but be yourself. It'll work if it's right. I've stood by that. I met him ring announcing while I was still training in 2013. So I've known John for all of my career, and he has been nothing but helpful the whole way and complimentary too. When you succeed, your friends should never be scared to lift you up or compliment you or tell you you're doing well. And I think we're seeing more of that in wrestling, but he was one of the first people that ever, said that before it was cool to say that.
Yeah. What accomplishments are you most proud of now? You've been in the business for a while. You've been Fest champion. But to you, what is your biggest accomplishment?
You're going to make me keep sounding like a dick, aren't you? Here's my biggest accomplishment, okay? If I go to a show, if I'm booked on a show, and I go to a show, and people come up to me and say, we paid to come see you. It might be 3 people, it might be 10 people, it might be more than that. But they say, we came to see Effy. We saw you were on the poster, we came to see Effy. That is always the biggest accomplishment. The moment you can call yourself a draw, a legitimate draw, whether it's 1 person or 4 people or 10 people who are not your family, who are not your best friends, who you've convinced to come, who said, we are coming to see this person, we have heard things, we want to see them wrestle. That is it. And if you're not bringing people in the door, then you shouldn't be booked anyway.
Amen to that. But obviously, to be that draw, you have to be good at some things. What do you think are some of the things you're really good at? And name one thing that you think I could still work on that to be better.
Storytelling, 100% is my strongest suit.
Uh-huh.
I can act my ass off. I can bump my ass off. I can sell for anybody. I can get a story across. What I would say I would like to get better at, I really want to go take some like judo MMA classes and get these holds and strikes even crazier. I've picked up a lot from a lot of people along the way.
You are
Obviously,
very aggressive in the ring, I have to say.
I am aggressive because it's a fight. And side note, as I talk crazy, side note, if your wrestling looks like wrestling pretending to be wrestling, then you fucked up. Wrestling is a theater act that's supposed to look like a fight. All right. So if your wrestling just looks like wrestling, you're wrong. You're wrong. All this over choreographed, and there's guys who do it really well. But if you're not doing it really well, it looks like watching tape on half speed, watching some of these dumb motherfuckers try to do spots they saw for the first time on the New Japan app the other day and try to do these complicated things at half speed, sloppy, and it doesn't look like anybody was actually in the fight. I would much rather see you punch somebody in the face, and this is a personal preference. I would rather see you punch somebody in the face and mean it than bullshit around with some hokey jump around ends in a DDT bullshit. I don't care. I think it's impressive, athletic. I want to believe the story being told in the ring. And the moment you two start hugging and dancing around each other and doing spins, most of the time it looks like shit, objectively. So do it really, really well or don't do it at all.
Who's on your list that you really want to punch in the face?
Oh, man. God, Dave Meltzer. I really don't have anything personally against Dave Meltzer, but I think he's created this sort of community in wrestling where we feel like everything has to be rated to this particular scale, and we feel like everybody's voice has to be heard and is important, and it's not always. So some people are just out there to be scummy, and it's not necessarily Dave himself's fault, but that culture coming from him in that rating and looking at everything needed in rating, it's just, it gets annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and I don't think originally maybe he intended for it to be part of the culture where everybody is rating it, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, oh, this is a 3-star match, this is a 5-star match. You know?
Yeah, when I hear a dipshit at an indie show with 150 people there talking about match 4 was okay, but I'd only give it 2.5. Like, just go home. Just go home. No one cares. These are people that are trying their best out there to, shut up. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? That's it. And you don't need to tell everybody. Nobody's looking to you for the answers. Let them make their own decision. You can discuss it. We can have casual discussion. Hey, I didn't really enjoy that. But the moment you start making these like vague tweet posts about matches and their ratings, you look like a jackass.
Effy, you're a polarizing figure, I feel like. Every time when you come into the ring, either people love you or they really hate you.
Oh, yeah. I'm the queer John Cena.
It's true. It's very true. And have you ever gotten like really hate from a fan that you didn't know how to control?
No, not that I didn't know how to control, but I figured out pretty early on. I mean, you can imagine working in the South mostly and starting out and being a weird queer figure. It was me heel most of the time, right? But what I started to notice is that for every person calling me a faggot or calling me a queer or saying you gay boy or whatever they're saying, you dress like a woman, you're a woman, there was other people in the audience who would kind of come pull me to the side and go, hey, that was actually really cool. We really liked it. Sorry those people were mean to you. And what I saw more and more was, as I was being attacked, if I could fight it back and still stand strong and stand in the ring, maybe that would give these people a little option of, you don't have to put up with this shit. Whether it's at McDonald's or at Walmart or wherever you're walking or in your neighborhood, you don't have to put up with this shit. Am I saying you should get in a fight with everyone who calls you a faggot? No. It would get exhausting. And plus, their breath probably smells awful, so don't get too close anyway. But to be able to stand in there as someone who's supposed to be hated and having these few people saying, the biggest line that hit me was, we felt comfortable coming to this show because we knew you would be here. How crazy is that?
Wow.
We knew it would be a safer space for us as weird, queer, crazy people because we knew you would be here. So being able to stand there and go, I'm not putting up with this shit. Don't bring this shit to me. And my people here are definitely not going to put up with this shit. I'll handle it for them, is so empowering. And turning from that heel figure to being a baby face, you have to see why people are hating you. And then you have to see why they are falling in love with that heel side of you and turn that into an aggressive version of yourself that is more apt to fan love and more apt to chanting and fun and cheering.
Yeah. Now, we're a New York podcast, like the LGBTQ community has been very, at this point in age, is very well welcome into New York. It's like you have a gay friend, like no one really cares at this point anymore, but I know it's a little bit different in other states and in other areas. And it always surprises me because to me, at least, it's not even an issue anymore. It's like not even a topic of conversation. But being gay in the business, did you find any different obstacles that you had to overcome that another wrestler wouldn't have overcome that way?
I don't know. I can remember, certain situations being uncomfortable or certain situations having to kind of hide who you are, especially you deal with some South Georgia stuff or some Alabama stuff. You've got to be a little more careful about whose toes you step on, in certain ways. I don't know if I handled it any differently, but I know I handled it as me. And, sometimes I've bended at the knee, and I've told this story before. I don't know who heard it. I did have a promoter say, "Can you fag it up for me out there?
Oh,
I'll pay you an
shit.
extra $20. And you know what I did? I put on a wig and some jewelry, and I fagged it up and made that money. Sometimes you have to pick your battles. And was I going to convince a promoter in Dothan, Alabama, not to be a hateful bigot? No. Was he still my boss for the night that was going to pay me? Yes. Should I milk a little more money out of him? Fuck yeah, I should. I 100% should. This audience is already going to hate me. Let me get a little more cash out of him. Would I do that today? I don't know. Maybe. Depends on how much that offer was. If you want to double my pay for the night for me to dance around like a schloggy, let's do it. I'll explain it to everybody online later, and you'll look like a dick.
Yeah, it's always shocking to me, man. It's just different worlds.
It is more casual now, and that's the way you described it. Came off to me in that way of, oh, hey, this is my friend Tracy. She identifies as they, or they identify as they, and you go, okay, cool, nice to meet you, and you move on and you accept each other, and it's like there's no conversation. You're not explaining everything to people. You don't have to make it a big, let's put a spotlight on Tracy for a minute. Tracy, tell us your story, because they've been through all that shit. It's just like, hey, this is this person, this is how they're recognized, and hope you like them.
Yeah.
It's the casualness of it is beautiful now, and I always love that about being in New York especially, but in a lot of the bigger metropolitan areas, it's more and more so. I'm honestly more surprised by homophobia now than anything, because the people I deal with, obviously I'm surrounding myself with a certain type and class of people, but the people I deal with for the most part are so wonderful and accepting that you start to forget it's there. But, unfortunately, the reminders are usually tragic or hateful or terrible.
Sure.
We're not out of the woods just yet.
For sure. In a year from now, if we were to get back together, what do you think you'd be bragging about?
What would I be bragging about? Probably whooping Cody Rhodes' ass and then making him lick my tattoo of his dad's face on my foot.
Oh my gosh.
If you think that's not a great
dude, that'd be
match
so
idea,
cool.
I'm going to make you kiss your daddy's lips on my feet, Cody.
Oh
I'm
my.
going to make you bow before me after I pin you. And I'm going to make you kiss your daddy's lips right on my feet with my bright red painted toenails. That's what I'm going to be bragging about.
Give him like a cross face and have him push his head right into your foot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably do it at the Jacksonville event. I'm going to call Cody today and tell him to step the fuck up and do what he needs to.
Put the big boy pants on. All right. I don't know if whoever's listening, if they haven't followed you yet, they should definitely do it. But there's a controversial video that I want to talk about right now. It's recently been circulating, the internet. It's racy. It's a little sexual. It's between you and the bad boy, Joey Janela, where you explore bondage with Joey.
Oh, we do explore bondage.
You do. All in the
Here's the
hopes to be in spring break.
I see a lot of guys being desperate out there. They're really desperate. Joe even tweeted. He said, "If you'll drive and bring me a hot dog to my front door, I'll book you for free." He tweeted that, so people were and they're desperate. Oh, retweet me to be on spring break. Retweet me to do this. Retweet me to do that. Go kill yourself. Joey's been walking around whatever show you're at. Okay. He's standing right there.
He is.
If you want it, go get it. And if he says no, you tie his ass up to a chair and you make him say yes.
Dude, so I have two questions. First of all, we can now confirm that, you are going to be in the clusterfuck.
He said yes.
He said yes. And
he said yeah, and I made my own match graphic. He said yes.
He's not even making you the match graphic?
No, I had to make the match graphic.
Come on,
I had to
GCW.
take the picture of Mantar, and I had to put myself over it.
Oh, man. But my two questions are, how do you feel now being involved in one of the biggest shows, Mania weekend, outside of WrestleMania? And two, is Joey still tied up somewhere in your compound?
I did untie Joey.
Oh, thank God.
He's had a lot of regrets about what happened between us, and that's fine. But here's what I look at. Here's another thing. I talk about this backstage at shows, okay? It's called the Janela effect, right?
Okay.
You just described the show. It's a big show. It's one of the biggest shows WrestleMania weekend, and you're up against, Ring of Honor, and you're up against, it doesn't matter who you're up against. It's the biggest show. So guys get out there and they go, I better do the craziest thing I've ever done. And what happens? They get injured, they break their legs, they cut their arms open, they get cut all open, they get concussed on the floor because they're too excited to be something they're not because they got the big booking. Oh, I'm here now. I better start doing the stuff I've never done that looks unsafe to amaze this crowd. Why the fuck do you think you got there? What you were doing was fine. Don't be somebody you're not just because you have an opportunity to advance your career or be bigger than you are now or be able to charge more money than you are now. Don't risk that. It's not worth being out 6 to 9 months to a year to 2 years just because you want to impress somebody. You're there for a reason. Do what you do every night and make it count. Make it good for the people, and they're going to have a good time.
Effy, thank you so much for enlightening us in this great conversation. I feel
Thank
like
you.
I gotten to know you a lot more, and you have a great head on your shoulders, a great understanding to the business. And for me as a wrestling fan, I love seeing everything that you're doing, because from the beginning of the show when we started, you are creating new moments that I've never seen before. You are creating new wrestling, and it's the stuff that I feel is missing from the wrestling business. So keep doing your thing, brother. If anybody wanted to follow your journey and plug in all your social medias, let us know where we could do that.
So on Twitter and Instagram, it is @KillEffy, because everybody's trying to. They're all trying to kill me, baby. So if you want to do it, come do it. Come kill me.
Now,
come kill Effy. Can you do it? Can you slay the beast? Can you beat the Brock Lesnar, the gay Brock Lesnar? Come kill me. I'll say this: the Twitter, pretty out of control. The Instagram, a little more manicured. But if you want a slightly more family-friendly version, I am also on Facebook. It's just Effy. If you search Effy, it's not the jewelry company. It's the picture of me with a smoldering, gorgeous, modelly look on my face, looking almost defeated, but gorgeous. So find me on there. There's fun stuff. The dates are more up to date on Facebook than anywhere else.
Good to know.
But I will plug my website. I have 2 websites that are the same website. One is beeffy.com, BEEFFY.com. You have to put the extra F or you'll go to a gay porn site. That's definitely not on purpose.
Is that a fact?
Oh, not on purpose. Yeah, if you go to beefy.com, you're getting into it. That might be your thing. But if you go to beeffy.com, you can find merch. You can find an image gallery of my nipples and crotch. You can find dates. You can find my store. You can buy some stuff. Or that website is also accessible through www.effy.com, which is www.effy.com. Because I have waited my whole life for a cease and desist letter. I even did a whole hip-hop mixtape of Disney tracks that is out there on the internet for you to find. The only person who knows how to find it is Nick Iggy of the Carnies, and he will charge you for access, but it's free out there if you find it, my Disney mixtape. I really want that cease and desist, and I'm hoping www.effy.com will get it for me.
Hell yeah. Well, if we haven't gotten the censors going wild during this conversation, we still have last call. You ready for that?
Oh, always ready for a good last call. This is Effy. And if you've loved listening to me, listen to more Shots of Wrestling from A Shot of Wrestling on B Plus Player Radio or bodyslams.net. Don't miss out.
Well, thank you very much, Effy, for joining us on this episode of A Shot of Wrestling, The Interviews. This interview was actually featured on episode 155, which we recorded in February of 2019. Now, a lot has changed since we talked to Effy back then. For example, you could no longer find Effy at Kill Effy on Instagram and Twitter because Effy lives. That's right, Effy lives on Instagram and Twitter is the handle where you could get all the Effy you ever wanted. And if you do want more, make sure you follow him because there's a lot of great things going on in the world of Effy. For example, Effy's Big Gay Brunch brought to you by GCW's Collective, April 2nd through the 4th, WrestleMania weekend in Tampa Bay, Florida. You gotta believe there's gonna be some drinks and food and Effy. And I mean, that's a great combination as it is. So make sure you follow him on all forms of social media so you can get more details on Effy's Big Gay Brunch. I'd like to take this moment to thank everybody for listening. If you like what you listened to today and want to hear more, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share the video because like we always say, wrestling brings everyone together. So for everyone here at the family, I am the Green Man. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I need to announce it's last call at the bar.
Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the end of the episode, and it is last call. Effy, we've had a great conversation with you. The censors have been going wild, and there's just a little bit more we have in store for you. So it's rapid fire questions. The first thing that comes to your mind is the first thing you should answer. Are you ready?
Oh, God, I think I'm ready, but I hope these aren't going to be too hot of takes. I hope you're throwing me softballs here, yeah?
Well, let's start with a softball. Who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Dusty Rhodes. I have him tattooed on my left foot, and I'm too embarrassed to show Cody Rhodes the tattoo. I think he's the embodiment of being a badass, but also being very approachable as a babyface and being able to harness the energy of people and not going over their heads by speaking to them at their level, but not speaking down to them. That's why Dusty's the greatest.
Awesome. What is the worst job you've ever had?
God. See, you're saying say it as fast as you can, and I'm thinking about how many bad jobs I've had. I'll say it was scooping ice cream for Cold Stone when I was 17.
Oh, I love Cold Stone.
Yeah. They make you sing. They put quarters in there. It's sticky all the time. Everybody's just gross about how much ice cream they want. You know, I love ice cream. I eat a lot of ice cream now. But during that time, it was like there was nothing more stomach-wrenching than thinking about slopping up a bunch of ice cream and toppings.
Yeah. What sex toy do you regret purchasing?
The only one I've regretted purchasing is I bought a mouthstrap ball gag dildo that is the shape of a penis, and I used it in a hardcore tag match with one White Mike of the Gymnasty Boys. And the only reason I regret it is it was expensive, and I don't think the spot got over well, and I've never found a real use for it in my life. I'm not real big on sucking dick myself, so I'm not like ball gagging myself with a penis. So it's kind of sat in my drawer waiting for someone to give it good use. So if you have ideas and want to book that match, let's do it. Hang it from something and have a ladder.
What song or artist do you enjoy listening to but rarely admit to liking?
Well, it's not that I rarely admit to liking it, but a lot of people when they're riding in my car will make me change it. I'm a really big Conway Twitty fan. Like, I'm obsessed with Conway Twitty. I think that the idea that, and I don't know if people listening have seen Conway Twitty before. Maybe they have. He was on Family Guy. They did a whole segment with it. But Conway Twitty is this weird old man with a pompadour, and he sings these gravelly country songs about loving young women. But I just love his music. But like, people are in my car and they're like, is this a joke? Like, is he playing games? And I'm just crooning out some Conway Twitty. I'll admit to it, but not a lot of people will listen to it with me.
I feel you. What is the one part of your body you hate working out?
I thought you were just going to say, what's a part of your body you hate? And I was going to say my tail because it's hard to tuck. But I guess working out wise, I mean, who really likes working their legs out? Like, it's a hassle. I'm sure that's probably the majority of your answers there.
Yeah. What is the one fashion rule that you would like to break?
The fashion rule I always break is I refuse to wear more than 3 pieces of clothing at any time.
Interesting. All right.
I won't do it. And especially and that's like my max is 3 pieces of clothing. So like me at a wedding is a mess. I hate wearing clothing in general. But like if I have to wear more than 3 pieces of clothing, I'm severely uncomfortable. And in the summer, like if you see me in a tank top and shorts, that's literally all I'm wearing. If I can get it down to 2 or 1 pieces of cloth, that's what I'm going to stick with.
Just try rompers.
I did do the romper, and I actually custom made my own overall shorts that I dyed pink, and that's wonderful. But it does get a little bit much when I can't keep even that on.
Effy, who's your celebrity crush?
My celebrity crush. Oh my gosh. I really hope my boyfriend doesn't listen to this because he says you like too many young looking men, and I've got to say it's Shawn Mendes.
The singer.
The singer Shawn Mendes, famous for being Shawn Mendes and telling everyone how not gay he is. He's very not gay. There's a whole Rolling Stone article. Look how not gay I am. There's a whole article about it. Don't worry. Look at the glossy photos.
Name one wrestling move that can double as a sex position.
You know, probably a lot of them. But in my current phase, I'm doing all I can to make fun of The Undertaker. So it would be the Tombstone Pile Driver. I think the Tombstone Pile Driver should not drop them on their head, but I think it should just drop you down into a 69 position because we all know that's what The Undertaker wants anyway.
Whoa, all right. And finally, what song is best suited to be the soundtrack of your life?
Oh, no, you can't do this. It's my entrance song. It's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John.
All right.
And it's slow and sexy. And you know what it says? You know what Elton John says in that song?
What does it say?
He says, I don't care if you're famous or rich. You don't own me or my art. So go fuck off. You can listen to me. You can enjoy me, but you will never control me. And I think that's beautiful.
And not only is it beautiful, it's a great way to end this episode of A Shot of Wrestling. Effy, you've been a pleasure to have on, and we'll see you very soon.
Very soon.
Hey, baby, I hear the bell ringing, hip tosses and body slams. Oh, my. And maybe you seem a bit confused. Yeah, baby, but I got you pinned. Ha, ha, ha. But I don't know what to do when I see them with that golden case. They're cashing it in. Authority all in my face. What is a man to do? Good night, everybody.